Hello, everybody, and welcome to the Wait What Are We Talking About podcast, episode 224. My name is Bret, aka Enigma9011, and you can catch this podcast live over on twitch.tv/Enigma9011. You can drop a follow over there. You get notified when we go live, like Mr. Moose, so you join on the fun and conversation with us. But if you can't catch it live, that's okay. Go over to YouTube and podcast services the very next week. It's broken out topic by topic and put as one big video in MP3 for your amusement on the following Friday. Last but not least, anyway, you can support the show, like, shares, reviews, whatever it is that may seem small but does help the channel grow. So if you take the time to do that, we'd love and appreciate you for it. Today, two different topics. We're going to be talking wrestling, because we always talk wrestling. And we're going to talk video games, because we always talk video games. We're going to be talking Cult of the Lamb. I don't remember if I did a full topic on this when it dropped roughly 2 years ago. I don't think I did, but I wanted to talk about it now because, one, it's a great game, two, still a great game, and three, Lady and I have recently jumped back into it, and we're actually playing through it together, and it has been quite a fun time, especially with the amount of content that Massive Monster and Devolver Digital has added to this game for free since launch. Apparently Artemis is loving it as well. Which, I mean, yeah, he's been getting into his own shenanigans on the game, let's say. So yeah, just wanted to talk about Cult of the Lamb. So first off, if you guys don't know what Cult of the Lamb is, one, fix that. This is a game by Massive Monster where you are a cute little lamb. You're about to get sacrificed by these demon cult leader people, and you are saved by another like supernatural power, and they bestow upon you this little crown, and they ask you to make a cult in their honor, and this is a mixture of a roguelite dungeon kind of dungeon crawler, for lack of a better term, and a farming sim. Very weird combination of gameplays there, but what the gist of it is you're going out for these runs, essentially, like a Hades or other roguelikes that you may think of. You go out there into the different dungeons, which are separated out into rooms. You're beating up bad guys, trying to clear the certain different sections, while also gaining or gathering materials like lumber, rock, flowers, food sources, followers for your cult, anything that you could bring back to your cult to help improve them, feed them, kind of expand on the farm and grow it as you go along. So you go out, do the runs, go against the big bads, try and defeat them and knock them down, get your revenge, I guess, essentially. And then after those runs, whether it's successful or maybe not as successful, you go back to your cult, and this is where the farm simulator comes in. You talk to your cult leaders, you give them different jobs, whether it's to gather different resources and certain mines or lumber yards, to farm for you, to cook food, you clean up after them, you do different sermons and rituals to kind of elevate their follower faith and devotion level to make you more powerful for when you go back out onto the field, into the dungeons, so you can be more successful there and progress through the game. Throughout the game, you meet up a lot of different unique characters that will give you different little side quests. Maybe you need to gather mushrooms for them, and then you can show you different ways to lead your cult. There's mini games, like one called Knuckle Bones, which is like a dice game that you can play. There's fishing you can do, a lot of different trading and getting decorations for your cult and stuff like that. It's a blast, absolute blast. I was looking forward to this game for a while prior to when it came out, and then it dropped, and I was absolutely fascinated with it. And I played through the entire thing, at least at that time of release, played through it, beat it, and then it doesn't have, there's an end point in the story of like, yep, you took care of everything, but it's also open-ended where you can continuously do runs, go back in there. There is that gameplay loop. You go after the big bads again, keep going through them, you can keep doing your cult. So it's one of those things where it has that replayability in terms of longevity, where you can keep doing things over and over and over again. But for me, it was like, no, okay, I felt like I got to a good point. checked all the boxes or whatever. And at that point, when I had played it back in 2023, maybe late 2022, let me see actually when this officially dropped and not take a guess. We have the power of the internet. Yeah, it's 2022. Beat it and I was good. Let's see, PlayStation 5. So it came out August 2022. But after that, they had a little bit of a roadmap. I don't know if it was they had the plan beforehand or the game was so successful that they decided, hey, we're going to keep adding content in it. And me, in my pea-brain mind, not really putting any research into it, was just like, it's what a lot of games do, which is great. They provide that post-game content. They have DLC. It's another way for them to earn, obviously, a little bit of revenue on top of their initial game sales. Good for them. DLC and me, while I enjoy it and I'm happy for the teams, it's that weird thing where the DLC drops, like, hypothetically, 3 months later. I have to be really invested in the game, and I haven't felt that way in a while. Not this game specifically, hypothetically, just the general, the Royal game. I don't know. I have to be really invested into it to jump back into that DLC, because when you do it in such a big time gap, you have to almost relearn everything, and sometimes that's hard to do, to get back into the flow of things, to then obviously absorb all the new information too and learn what's different, what's been changed, what's adapted, whatever it is. So me thinking, oh, this is going to be paid DLC, I don't know if it's for me. I don't know if I'll jump back in. Nothing was really pulling me. Once again, happy with the teams that were doing it, and they had the success for it, just wasn't for me. Let's fast forward to now. Lady and I are hanging out, and I don't know how it came up. Lady, were you just thinking about it randomly?
I think I was just thinking, I don't know.
Mm-hmm.
I don't remember.
Sure. So, Lady just brings it up, like, hey, you know what I want to play? I want to play Cult of Lamb. I want to give it a try. And we've talked about it probably in the past before, of just, like, different games she wants to try out, whether it's been, Born of Bret a little bit, or Haunty, or Cult, and then some other games. We'll bring it up, and then it's one of those things where we talk about it, like, yeah, I think you would like it, or maybe not, for other stuff. But ironically, when she mentioned it, the week she mentioned it, they just released a free update for cooperative play. And that was like, check mark, yep, absolutely, let's play it, because it's something obviously we could do together. We could bond over, we could have some fun with together, go through the experience. So we decided to do that. We decided to jump in, start a new game with a co-op. And obviously, this being her first time, like, she's full interested, like, you're head over toes with this, or head over feet, whatever they head over heels for this game. Right, lady? Mm-hmm. Yeah, she's all in. She's having a great time, which obviously I'm enjoying seeing her enjoy herself. But me also jumping back into this, I'm like, okay, what do I remember after 2 years? Because there's some stuff, yeah, it came back really quick, and then there was other stuff like, I don't remember what this will do, what this effect will have. But learning that the DLCs, outside of some follower forms and some decorations, they've all been free updates. So since playing then, I believe there's been 3 major updates that they have added. The first one they added was hold on a second. Really? You're not going to just tell me what it is? Interesting. We had Relic of the Old Faith was the first one. Second one, we had the Sins of the Flesh, and then the most recent one, which I just brought up, was the Unholy Alliance, which is their co-op update. And with all these updates, they added quite a bit of content to just the base game. So it's kind of almost like, well, it is, that fresh coat of paint for me of like, oh, this is also intriguing because I've never seen this stuff. Seems like, let's see if I can get a descriptor here. Each time the DLC did drop, there was the paid follower pack you could also get. So your follower pack, or what the followers are, all of your cult members are cute little animals, and you can unlock different follower forms just through your base gameplay, either finding them in your dungeon runs or defeating certain bosses. You acquire that follower form, and then from there on out, once you have that form, anybody that you bring to your cult, you can kind of create and assign them those follower forms. So there's like otters, there's dogs, cats, there's a bear, there's a spider, there's a bat. Like there's a lot of them, and there's a wide variety for you to unlock throughout the game, whether it's the dungeon runs or these random kind of puzzles and objectives that you can do throughout the game. So each of the main packs, the main free updates also had their own follower forms that they added, but DLC ones as well. I think it was like 5 or so per each. So those kind of launched hand in hand there. So Relics of the Old Faith, free expansion that added more depth to the combat aspect of the game. So we've noticed it allows you to kind of have a different tool that you can use throughout your dungeon runs, a wide variety of different ones that you can get that can modify maybe how you hurt enemies, or it could swap your weapon set or whatever it is. So it's been interesting to see those. I don't think we've dived too much into using them all that much. It's just kind of been there. Apparently there's also new post-game content that's in there, which is nice. Just keeps, obviously, that objective of you going along after you finish the main stuff, which is nice. Sins of the Flesh was a little bit of the weird one. So this one you can unlock after a certain point of the base game, but it adds this new section of doctrines called sin. And what you do is you collect this new resource to make different buildings. You can make different outfits for your cult, so you can kind of customize it a little bit more. Like, I think we haven't made any yet, but we've unlocked one that's like a knight outfit, and there's a maid outfit, so you could do that at a tailor. Don't want to spoil. Well, no, we've kind of talked about it. I just want to be aware of spoilers for Lady. But you can have them hook up with people, and they can have kids, so you can make new followers that way if you want. So there's new stuff there that you can craft as well through materials that you gather. So a lot of more funny stuff that they added there that the cult members can do. And then through the Unholy Alliance one, once again, this was the co-op update. So if you wanted to, you can play with a local co-op friend. They can be your goat friend, goat cult leader. You can play as them. You can also play as the goat in the single player. I think you just need to unlock a fleece to equip, and then you can be them. But you play together through co-op. And then there's a few new buildings that they added. The ones that we've noticed, or the big thing that we noticed, was traits. So each of your cult members has pluses and minuses to them, so pretty much kind of like their personality. Maybe they'll get sick easier if they see someone else is sick or things are untidy. Maybe they're going to be really loyal. Maybe they're going to be a butthead, and they're going to be a little bit more skeptical of your cult. But we found out some really funny ones kind of by accident as we were playing. So one of them is Snorer, so that follower will snore and wake up followers who are sleeping nearby. So we had a few of those, so we had to kind of kick them out to the side over and make their own little house and tent area. We had a poet. They never work or have interactions. They just sit and write poetry all day for you. We found one, let me see if I can find them, a spy. This one took us by surprise. Followers might join the cult by themselves with the spy trait. Followers with this trait work and behave like any other followers and will leave the cult with 10% of your gold after 5 days. So Lady was the detective here that found this out. So we had one cult member do this, and early on they left and took some gold, and I was like, oh, that happens. They're just a dissenter. We didn't get them back. But Lady noticed that it happened with another follower while they were kind of praying at our altar or whatever. And they're kind of giving like a little shady side eye, and they weren't really given resources. So we're like, do we even remember so-and-so? Like this animal combination with color and fur and all that stuff. And we're like, I don't remember bringing him in. So we investigated him a little further and found out that he was the spy. And we're like, oh, well, we don't want you stealing our gold, so I think we sacrificed him to get rid of him. So that was a fun one. We haven't noticed it too much now since our cult has been bigger. I hope that doesn't happen because A, that'd be a lot of gold, and B, that would be hard to narrow them down. So it might just be something that happens early on as you're kind of forming your cult. And then there's one more, which I don't see here. Oh no, I do see here. Is cursed. So I had mentioned that when you're in your farm, in that aspect, you could do different sermons, and this kind of boosts the morale and your faith of your cult to make it stronger. People, more likely to do what you want them to do and stuff like that. And you also have these rituals that you can do, which is another way you can elevate their status. Maybe you make them work harder, or you give them a day off, or you have a big feast for them or whatever. But over time, your cult members are going to get old. They're going to die. And you'll have to bury them and whatnot. Well, maybe you really like a cult follower. Maybe you grew really close to them, or they're one of your favorites, and they die, and you're like, they're gone. Well, you can resurrect them. And this was something I had done in the original release of the game. It's just like kept bringing back my followers that I really liked, and they were higher level cult members, so they gave me more resources as they were going around. So it was like, oh, lady, you really like this deer character. Resurrect him. Bring him back. No big deal. Well, she did. And the cult member comes back, and all of a sudden they're like zombie mode. They're like all dark in the eyes. They're drooling. They're just going, ugh. And they're walking around. They're not doing anything. And I'm like, I think they're okay. Turns out they weren't okay. And they ate another one of our followers. So sorry, Moose. So we had to quickly take care of that, nip that in the butt. You can cure those followers. We were not at that point where we could cure them, nor did we know how to. So it was a big panic moment when that did happen. So that's too bad. So just some things to be careful of all the new stuff with traits, especially if you're jumping back into this. But yeah, with myself jumping back into this, with all the free updates, it's been a lot of fun. I've been really enjoying my time playing the game again, both with Lady, and then I've also been like, damn, should I start my own save again so I can chase after trophies and whatnot? I'm holding off of that for now. But it's been a really fun surprise. It was just something I totally didn't expect. And granted, maybe that was just me being outside of the bubble of like realizing that these additions were free. If you guys haven't tried Cult of the Lamb, I would highly recommend it. If you guys are on PlayStation Plus Extra, I believe, it is free on there. So, hey, just download that and you're good to go. And like I said, all those updates are free, so you're going to have all that stuff right at the beginning. It's a lot of fun. It's across many platforms. I just know on PlayStation Plus Extra, it's free right now as of recording. I would highly recommend it. It's got a nice blend of those two modes of the roguelike dungeon crawler and the farm. So it's not like other rogues where you're going to be bashing your head on the wall because, I keep dying and this and that. You do get that nice reprieve, moment of breathing, calm time during your farm and managing everything. Don't get me wrong, that part can still be a little stressful when resources do get low, but I think it's a nice balance between the two where it doesn't feel super duper stressful with the combat aspects and going out there when maybe you're not making the most progress. And the replayability is nice too, especially when you do progress farther and you're like, I'm on this third boss and he's really giving me a tough time. You can go back to the first section, the second section, those previous areas, do those over again. Maybe you just need a moment to hack and slash, beat the shit out of some stuff, feel better about yourself, and then try it again. But you also are benefiting your cult as you go out, gathering those resources. So it's never a waste of time if you do replay those stuff or those areas, which is pretty nice. So yeah, I'd highly recommend Cult of the Lamb. That, I'm curious if they have more add-ons planned down the line, or if Massive Monster is just going to be working on their next title from this point. I don't know if they've put anything out there about anything. Like I said, with recording right now, Unholy Alliance just dropped last week, so news on it might be pretty sparse. Is that the term? Scarce. But I just want to check real quick before we move on from this topic. Cult of the Lamb. Yeah. There's some animated shorts. That's cute. That art style is always adorable. Yeah, it looks like currently that is just the last update that they've called for. Announced. That's the word. But they are constantly working on the game too, working on patches and fixes for things, which is nice. So, shout out to Massive Monster. You guys absolutely crushed it with this game, and thank you for continuing to make content for it and additions. It's nice to jump back into.